trying to create documents that over time will continue to expand and grow, and memories will accrue to them, so that in 20 or 30 years it will provoke people's memories, and so the mundane and the everyday things, and that's somewhat documentary. I'm not an artist, I'm a photographer, and I think there's a difference. Artists are really in a whole idea of a concept of imposing their personality on things, imposing a concept on things, and trying to be unique and creative. And it really is somehow about expressing your ego in some explicit way. Photography has a long history of real moments in time, and yes, my personality's involved in it, but it's also a real moment in time, and that the thing that is in the photograph also has power separate from my concept of it. And I don't want to sever that moment in time with a concept or a preconceived notion, or making a photograph that demonstrates a concept that I have. But I do have concepts, but they should be reflected in the picture of the real moment in time, not in an explicit demonstration of the concept. And I think I want to be anchored in the history of photography, and some people pick and choose from that to make it art or not. But that's, I think, a divergence from what photography is. Themes of people and their relationships, themes of form and shape in nature, themes of structures and artifacts and remnants of human activity that illustrate and show personality, and weird stuff around the house that for some reason the way the light shows I just take pictures of, would be themes that I can see in my photography. And if I look at the pictures of the people photography, you can see things about youth and loneliness and sort of isolation and people somewhat disconnected and things like that. But that's not a theme I'm looking for. That's a reflection of how I am and view the world. Sometimes I'll get an idea, and like nature growing in the city, or stuffed animals in glass cages, Buddhas in weird places. And so whenever I see those, I'll take pictures of those. But those are more for entertainment's sake, or a joke, or aren't fundamental. It's just you start seeing things and you want to keep doing them to sort of show things. When you look, the classic photo would be like Wonder Lake. I mean, and it is beautiful and it is amazing, and I'm sure if you're there it's amazing. But you look at it and you say, oh, that's a beautiful photo, and then you look again and you look in the calendar. But do you look at it a second or a third time? Does it puzzle you? Does it make you feel? Does it perplex you? Does it challenge you? Not to me. And I see a lot of photos that are pretty, but not memorable. And I wonder if they're doing it. Well, no, you feel the beauty of it when you're there. But the photo itself doesn't transcend the view of what they're seeing. It's not something that resonates somehow. And they become boring. John Udy, he's a picture framer, and he did like Morris Graves and Mark Tobey, and my dad's best friend. And I remember telling him at one point that I wasn't creative. And he told me well, tell me all the things you could do with a pile of dirt. And I started listing all these things off, and the fundamental end of that is I realized I was creative. Quite a few years ago, And years later, I happened to be catching a bus up to Vancouver to take photos, and he was on the bus to Anacortes. He never drove a car, and I got to thank him for that, because that experience of him asking me about the pile of dirt and to imagine all the things I could do with it is where I first acknowledged that I was creative. And it's sort of amazing how what simple experiences can have such a profound effect. And I was thankful that I could actually share that with him. And I also got to share that with his daughter later too. So before that, I just assumed I wasn't creative. I still am not sure. You don't go around saying you're creative, you just be creative. Because if you start saying you are creative, then it becomes pretentious. Many years ago, I was in Seward, and it was walking down this road, and there had been sort of a mound of dirt to block it off, and I walked up on the top of the dirt and looked down, and there was a dead dog. I turned around and walked away, and I said to myself, stop. My goal is to take pictures of things that I feel about, I need to go back and take a picture of the dead dog. And I think that when we take pictures, it isn't just of the positive things or of the beautiful things, but it should be of the things that make us feel afraid and that make us feel angry and make us feel hurt and make us feel bored. Wherever there's a feeling, there's a photo.